You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We're going to start you on your way to a beautiful day, and we're going to get right to it. Denver Broncos head coach Sean Payton, conduct detrimental to the team and the organization. Should his contract be voided? That's my question tonight. Sean Payton has went into unprecedented waters with Russell Wilson. And I am not a fan. And I know the players are not a fan. And the word has come down, the coaches are not a fan. So there's a major collision train wreck that's going to come into place with Sean Payton because he's going to lose. The players aren't going to play for him. The coaches aren't going to want to coach for him. And I started looking back and, Sean Payton, New Orleans Saints head coach many years. But, folks, that's the only head coaching job that his resume shows. He's not Bill Parcells. He doesn't know how to go into organizations to get the players going, turn organizations around. This is his first rodeo. He's never done this before. And, folks, I'm going to tell you why I say conduct detrimental. I tell you all the time about the NFL coaches. The NFL coaches, as the players have expressed their concern, it's not about NFL coaching. It's about the dog and pony show, going in the owner and meeting with the leadership and getting hired. And once an NFL coach gets hired, all of his money is guaranteed. So you're going to sign Russell Wilson to a $250 million of a contract, almost $50 million. You owe him $39 million next year guaranteed. And you bench him after your embarrassment of a display. And Money Mike's going to hit it home tonight. I'm not going to let any of this slide. Where is the NFL Players Union? This can't happen, okay? Because I will keep it 100, and I always tell you I stay on my side of the tracks. But here's what I've seen. I've seen Trey Lance, African-American quarterback. Contract, no good. Russell Wilson, African-American quarterback. Contract, no good. And I'm trying to understand what is the deal here. The NFL is the pinnacle of sports. It's the leader each and every week. The fan base is diversified. And this man has walked into this building. And, folks, I'm going to tell you, the Denver Bronco organization, the Denver Bronco fans, I've seen this time and time again. This is going to set your organization back, I'd say maybe 4, 5, 6 years. Because you've already unloaded a bunch of draft picks to go get Russell Wilson. You fire Nathaniel Hackett. You bring in Sean Payton. He's going to eliminate a $250 million contract. And he's going with Jarrett Stidham. And here's what I'm going to tell you. The players, man, I'll tell you about the NFL players. This is not 1982. And, folks, I'm inclusive. I'm a realist. Every football coach I played for, from high school to junior college to college, was Caucasian. I didn't have any of this type of behavior come out of any coach I've ever seen. This is shocking. And the reason it's shocking is because Sean Payton went on national TV and yelled at this man like he was less than a human being, Russell Wilson. Then you take the podium and your arrogance come out. You don't have to tell us anything. I'm not going to talk to you about what I discussed with Russ. But you took the podium and you misrepresented the organization. And you expect people to play for you. And, folks, this is what happens. Okay, guys like this, he's going to be standing by himself. He's not going to have any coaches. He's not going to have any players. And he's not going to have any free agents or anybody that wants to get drafted by the Denver Bronco organization. And I'm going to put it right on the top, okay? And I'm going to use an example right across the street. Deion Sanders, his son, quarterback. If the Denver Broncos have that pick, then Deion should do it just like Elway's father. We're not going to the Baltimore Colts. Okay? If the Denver Broncos have that pick, then you do just like Eli Manning's father did. We're not going there. Okay? You go somewhere where you feel is conducive, because I can tell you right now, there ain't nobody going to be showing up to Denver to play no football. And this is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast, folks. We don't sugarcoat anything. We promised you one thing. We will always bring it to you, but the secret truth, behind the scenes, or if they want to get right down and dirty with it like Sean Payton, and we're going to go uncut. He ain't never had a head coaching job. He doesn't understand what it means as the quarterback of an organization who is the leader of your locker room. Okay, those players aren't going to want to touch you. They're not going to want to play for you. And this is the whole thing of what I'm saying is coaches can come in. He can come in and get fired, and he's going to get his $100 million. This is a major issue, folks. In the NFL, these coaches' contracts are guaranteed, but the players' contracts are guaranteed. Do you hear me? These coaches' contracts are guaranteed, but the players in the NFL who sacrifice themselves say their contracts are not guaranteed. And you can cut a man at any time you want. NFL Players Association, this can't happen. We got to stop this, because here's what you're doing, and I see it. And I'm going to break it down. The NFL, the coaches, the organizations are devaluing the quarterback position. That's what I'm going to tell you. They're devaluing the quarterback position. And here's the reason why they're devaluing the quarterback position. Let's be honest. $60 million a year. They don't want to pay it. They don't want to pay it. So what they're doing right now, this is a tactical ploy. You're hearing it from Money Mike's first. Okay, the days of quarterbacks getting 200 and 300 and 400 and 500 million, that's not going to happen in the NFL. Okay, but when you got an issue with a guy like Sean Payton, conduct detrimental to the team, only had one head coaching job, the New Orleans Saints, okay, and to come over here to Denver. And folks, I've told you time and time again, this recycling of coaches, it's not going to work. And these coaches who you're hiring out of college to coach a quarterback just offense, that's a one-trick pony. And there are 53 other men on that Denver Broncos roster. So here's what I want to know from Sean Payton. How you going to look these men in the eye? Because if you'll do it to Russ, you'll do it to us. And when the players shut down, they're done with you. Because here's what I'll tell you about NFL players. They know how to get you out of there. They know how to get you out of there. And the way you get out of there is you don't win. But here's what I'm saying. We got the NFL Rooney Rule, okay? And this is not an interim job. So when this whole thing falls apart, I got one of the top candidates sitting in there at the Denver Broncos, Vance Joseph. When you come to Vance and you want him to take over, no, we don't want an interim job. We want the permanent job. We want this money that you gave Sean Payton. Folks, you got to hear me, all right, because the league, the brand of the NFL is bigger than the NFL coach. I repeat, the league, the brand, the shield is bigger than the NFL coach. And this man, Sean Payton, embarrassed the organization. He has no right to do that. And folks, he is the CEO of the Denver Broncos. That's what the head coach is. And if you're working in corporate America today and you had a leader, a CEO, approach you in the middle of a town hall meeting and act like Sean Payton did, that's conduct detrimental. He doesn't need to be coaching football. And let me tell you why he doesn't need to be coaching football. All right, because when he walked through that building on the first time, let me tell you what he did. He walked through that building and said Nathaniel Hackett was the worst coach he ever seen. No NFL coaches talk about each other like that. There's some mental issues, something going on here that we don't know about that Sean Payton is going through, because this is totally ridiculous of what he has done. Okay, he went in there and criticized that. Next thing comes out of his mouth is, okay, we're kissing too many babies. You start attacking Russell Wilson. And, folks, I told you one thing about these NFL coaches that I will tell you, and I'll put it on the line. When they realize they do not have control, they cannot win, they're going to place blame on somebody else, or they're going to bring a narrative of an excuse. Okay, so here's your narrative. Well, Stidham wasn't ready. Well, he got thrown in the fire too early. Well, we're not sure. Okay, God forbid if he gets hurt and you have to go back to Russell Wilson. What are you going to do then? You going to run down to the locker room and yell at him in there? That's ridiculous. And I wouldn't want a head coach sitting on a sideline yelling at a player that hasn't done it. Okay, I get it. You've been around Belichick, but you never did the military style. You weren't West Point. That's Bill Parcells. Those guys do it because they know how to get the players to respond. But this gentleman here, he's not even talking about a player responding. You know what he's talking about? He's talking about somebody jumping in there and actually saying, look at me, I'm the most powerful man on this NFL team. No, you're not. And let me tell you something to the fans of the NFL. I'm going to hit you at home, okay? Because each and every fan that goes to an NFL game pays a lot of money. Okay, I was just at SoFi. I think, what is it, 100, 150 to park? Okay, I ain't even got a hot dog. I ain't even got to my seats. We pay as fans. Okay, and I say we, I speak for the fans. They pay a lot of money to come watch the NFL. And the product is what they're coming to see. They're not coming to see the coach. This is not an NFL coach-driven league. And that's the embarrassment. That's the problem I have. And until the NFL, and I got a solution, because I'm not going to tell you about the problem, but I got a solution. When you pay these coaches, and they don't succeed on that field when they're coaching, NFL owners, they should take a pay cut. And they should keep decreasing that pay cut just like corporate America. So if you're going to pay that coach $20 million a year and he loses, cut it in half. He makes $10 million next year. If he loses again, you cut it in half. He makes $5 million next year. If he loses again, you cut it in half down to $2.5 million. But there's no more free money. You're not the product. You're not the player. You're a facilitator. And I'm going to tell you this, that antiquated style of coaching that we allowed to happen in the 1980s when I played, that's what you're coaching like, Sean Payton. That ain't going to fly with these kids and these brands and everything they go. They don't want no part of you. You don't know their culture. You don't know their history. And then you're going to attack one of the most intelligent men, the one that exemplifies what the NFL wants to see in a quarterback. And you're going to go ahead and do something like that, Sean Payton? I'm not a fan. And, folks, I'm bringing it out. I want this rule changed. I want coaches to be, if they come into your organization and do conduct detrimental to a team, they don't need to be in your organization anymore. Okay? And you don't need to pay them. I'll give you an example. Chip Kelly came into the 49ers with a sweet song and dance. After 1 year, we couldn't even get through a year in the 49ers. If you don't get this man out of our building, okay, 1 year coaching. Think about this, folks. You're not a football coach. Something happened to you, it didn't work, whatever's going on. And I'm not saying an individual is a bad person. I'll never speak badly. But when you get on national TV and you feel you have a Gestapo that you can go through and you can tell us what we need to do, how we need to do it, and you can do it anywhere, any place, anytime, I got a question for you, Mr. Sean Payton. What if your children were taught that way? What if your nieces and nephews were treated that way? Would you feel the same? You know what? You owe the fans, the Denver Bronco fans, an apology. You owe the NFL fans an apology because your conduct is detrimental and that contract should be voided. And I don't care. This ain't about winning anymore. Because the Broncos organization and those players and coaches, they could care less about winning. That's the last thing on their mind right now, okay? And what their mind is, you know what? I'm in a bad situation, and I got to get out of this situation. Players are going to call their agents. I'm in a bad situation. I got to get out of this situation. You know, and the only saving grace he has, okay, is Vance Joseph, okay? And I'm going to tell you, when you lose Vance, you lost it. Because those players will play, and they love for Vance Joseph. Vance Joseph should be the head coach of the Denver Broncos. And I'm telling you, Denver, now, this is going to set your organization back somewhere in the near 3 to 5 to 7 years. You have no more draft picks. You're going to have dead cap money. Okay? This guy has created his own scenario of an excuse of why he can't win in the NFL. And this is this is what they do. When they know they can't coach and win, they'll put an excuse out there. And that's what's happening. You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. And folks, I believe in change. I believe in changing the world. I believe in equal opportunity. I believe in inclusiveness. And the NFL, the brand, the shield, the pinnacle of sports. Sean Payton has no business being under that brand. And if any other employee of the NFL did what he did, they'd be out the door. Pull his badge, cut your loss, Denver. This is going to be a nightmare rebuilding for you. And it is what it is. And I've seen this song and dance, and folks, I can call it quicker than you can see it. So you're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We brought you Sean Payton, conduct detrimental to the team. His coaching NFL contract should be voided. I need the players' union in the agreement that the owners, we are not going to pay no different than a player. If he goes out there and has domestic violence or does something wrong, his contract is voided. If that NFL coach does something wrong, there's enough attorneys in America, and the NFL has enough attorneys to figure out how to void that contract, because I'm big on client image, and this has destroyed it. So you're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We brought it to you tonight uncut. Enjoy your evening. Happy holidays, and we'll see you soon.